Srixon, you know the name, right? They've got a major winning pedigree, for sure. But the real question is, are their irons the right fit for your game? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. We're going to put their latest models head-to-head. The slick ZX7, the do-it-all ZX5, and the powerhouse ZX4. Let's get into it.
So are Srixon the best golf clubs out there? I mean, that's a huge claim, right? But you look at their track record, and it's pretty darn solid. You've got major champions like Brooks Koepka who've won with their stuff, and just recently Sporn took home a trophy on tour playing the exact ZX7 irons we're about to look at. So yeah, the question is definitely worth asking.
Okay, so here are our three contenders for today. First up, you have the ZX7, which is all about precision. Then there's the ZX5, kind of the sweet spot, blending distance and feel. And finally, the ZX4, a game improvement iron that's all about making your life easier with max forgiveness. Let's see how they really compare.
All right, let's kick things off with the ZX7. This right here, this is Srixon's iron for the skilled golfer. We're talking about the low-handicap player, the person who's looking for precision, the ability to shape shots, and of course, that incredible premium forged feel. So when you first look down to the ZX7, man, it is just so clean and sharp. The lines are really deliberate. You know, it actually reminds me a lot of another really popular players club, the TaylorMade P7MC. It's built around this condensed forging process, and it has this little tech feature called a pure frame slot right behind the sweet spot. And really, all of that is engineered for one thing and one thing only, just absolutely exceptional feel.
And let me tell you, you feel it right away. It's not something you have to search for. That very first shot you hit, the feedback is just pure. It's soft, it's exactly what a good player wants to feel. It's simple, it's elegant, and you immediately get why a tour pro would look at this and say, yep, that's going in my back. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the ZX5. This one is what we call a player's distance iron, and it sits smack dab in the middle of the Srixon family. This is really aimed at that mid-handicap golfer, or maybe even a better player who's thinking, you know what, I'd like a little more distance and forgiveness, but I'm not willing to give up that sweet forged feel. The easiest way to think about the ZX5 is that it's kind of like a slightly beefed up version of the ZX7. The blade's a little longer, the top line is just a touch thicker, and it's got some helpful tech packed in there, like tungsten weighting and the long irons, to help you get the ball up in the air. It's a shape that just gives you a bit more confidence when you look down at it, which is why it appeals to so many different golfers. And this quote right here, it just nails what makes a great player's distance iron so special. You know, even on a slightly thin strike, the sound was still amazing, and the ball, it ended up just 10 feet from the hole. Now that is the kind of forgiveness you can actually hear and feel. It's just brilliant. All right, now we get to what was, for me, the biggest surprise of the whole lineup, the ZX4. On paper, this is the game improvement iron. It's supposed to be all about max distance, max forgiveness. But Srixon made some really bold claims about this one that honestly kind of defy what you'd expect.
Okay, so check this out. First, the claim. Srixon says the ZX4 is made from the softest steel they have ever used for a dramatically better feel. I mean, come on. That's the kind of thing you'd expect to hear about the ZX7, the player's blade, right? Not the game improvement iron? And they pair that with this big mainframe on the back. It's this milled-out channel that's all about pushing forgiveness to the absolute limit. So what happened when we hit it? 3 words. Wow. 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 Seriously, the first shot was a genuine shock. The feel was unbelievable, the sound was so crisp, and the distance, it was just nuts. A 7-iron carried 192 yards. This thing just did not feel like a typical chunky game improvement iron. It felt so much better. And this right here, this is where you really see the magic of this club. We tried 3 totally different shots. One hit perfectly, one hit a little fat, and one caught thin. And guess what? All 3 of them ended up pin high, right around the hole. I mean, that is the literal definition of forgiveness you can actually use on the course.
Okay, so the feel is obviously incredible, but feel is subjective, right? What do the actual hard numbers say? Let's dive into the launch monitor data and see what story it tells us.
Looking at the 7-iron carry distances, you see this perfect logical step up. The ZX7 came in at 171 yards. The ZX5 added a few more, up to 176. And then you have the ZX4 just flying a massive 183 yards on average. And really, this all makes perfect sense when you see the lofts behind these numbers.
Let's break it down a bit more here. You can see exactly how those lofts get stronger as we move through the models.
The ZX7 is at a pretty traditional 32 degrees, but then you get all the way down to a super strong 28.5 degrees in the ZX4. And that right there is where the extra distance comes from. Now, the spin rates were a little on the low side for all of them, but you know what? The peak height was great, which means you still get plenty of stopping power when you're hitting into the greens. That's super important. Okay, so we've hit all three, we've looked at the data. What's the final verdict here? What's the big takeaway, and how on earth do you choose the right one for you?
Well, first things first, let's talk about the price, because this is pretty wild. In a world where new iron sets are easily costing way over £1,000, all three of these, the ZX7, the 5, and the 4, they all cost the same, £949. The fact that you're not paying extra for the player's model or for all the tech in the game improvement iron, that is a massive, massive win for the consumer. So what Srixon has done here really is create this perfect spectrum of performance. It's so clear. On one end, you've got the ZX7, which is all about maximum feel and control. On the complete other end, you have the ZX4 for maximum distance and forgiveness. And where does the ZX5 fit in? It sits beautifully right there in the middle, giving you a fantastic blend of everything. So if you're going to remember just a few things from this, here's what they are. First, the feel was way better than expected across all three models, especially that ZX4. Second, there's a super clear, logical progression here, so it's easy to find your fit. Third, the value is just outstanding at under $1,000. And finally, there's truly a fantastic option here for literally every single skill level. And that really brings us to the final question, and this one's for you. Thinking about your own game, what you need and what you want out of your irons, whether it's that pure feel, a bit of everything, or just as much help as you can get, which one of these amazing Srixon irons is the right one?